It's been just over a month since the release of Hellish Quart. I played this when it was in its early demo, and then of course I did a video upon its release. However, my video upon its release I think was very much misunderstood by a lot of people. I spent the whole video complimenting the game and how amazing I thought it was, but people disagreed with my ending conclusion, which is all fair and good. However, my ending conclusion was, right, this game is brilliant, but is it worth $15? And I said at that point, no. However, I have played it since, and I've been playing it in the last month, and in its 35 to 40-ish days after its release, it's been through a lot of changes, and of course, I have come more to terms with what this game is actually trying to achieve. Now, do I disagree with my statement at the time? No. Upon release, I did feel like the game just wasn't really worth the money, especially since I played pretty much the same thing in a free demo. However, in the recent days, they've added in a completely new map, more fantastic animations, and some really cool different mechanics. This game has been tweaked to hell, and I really think that's what Cubold, the developers, are trying to accomplish with this thing. They're not trying to make this massive, immersive, streamlined story game. They're trying to define the combat genre in a way that we haven't seen since a game like Bushido Blade. They're trying to make sure what they're doing is perfect, and even if it doesn't have a massive amount of content, as long as their target is where they want it to be, then I think that's what they're approaching, and I'm starting to move towards that side. I think Hellish Quart is a fantastic sword simulation game. It boasts these dueling physics like no game before it. Even a game like Bushido Blade didn't do it nearly as well as this, and I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with me because that is such a beloved game. However, I just feel like Hellish Quart has that more gritty feeling to it. It feels bloody, and that's mostly down to the visual aesthetic. It looks like a gorgeous game. Not just the characters, but the scenery and the way cloth moves, the way that swords interact with flesh, and how you have blood spurting from everywhere. The awesome animations chopping heads off. You can even chop hands off as well now. And these are all consequences of the vast amount of different moves and circumstances you can put your characters in. But 1 month after its release, what have we actually got? Well, as I mentioned, there's a new map. Now, this map is one of its weakest. I would have to say it really leaves something to be desired in terms of aesthetic background content. Now, don't get me wrong, the maps basically are irrelevant in this game. It's not about that at all. It's just different scenes that you fight in, and it doesn't change your actual gameplay or the ways that you go about your battles. However, it's nice to have something visually pleasing in the background, and the grass field looks nice, but it's not exactly interesting. However, it does show that they are adding in new content, and judging by the Steam page, there seems to be a lot of new maps that have been made but just aren't quite finished yet. We can see the forest map that seems to be perking up a lot on the Steam page, also some snowy maps as well. Now, what's more for the content? We have a single player mode coming in the near future. We already have a cutscene from the start of the game. This was displayed on their YouTube channel, but it has now been put within the game itself. Now, the single player mode doesn't give us any hints of what it might be, but I'm assuming it's just going to be going throughout the world with these different characters, meeting each other, interacting with each other, and of course eventually offering duels with each other. But once again, I'm not sure the single player mode is going to be all that important towards the game overall. It may have a cool little story, but it's not going to be a very narrative rich single player. However, I think there are some things that can be said about character development, because they've made these characters that all seem to have their own unique styles of gameplay, but they haven't really gone in depth about who these people are. And I think a story mode going into these characters could completely change the way you pick your character at the start of the game, but also how you play as them. You learn about their background and their past, and that gives a good indication about their way they fight. Are they rough, brutal, and aggressive, or are they slick, sly, dodging, trying to get in hits at opportune moments? Now, these are things that are already in the game that you're going to have to comprehend with and use their skills to their advantage, but I just think the single player, when that eventually comes in, could add much more depth to the actual personality of these people that we're playing as. Now, once again, the full game added in 2 more characters, the longsword character and the rapier character. Personally, I absolutely love playing with the longsword. I think it is a great addition. I think the moves that you have with that is so satisfying, and it feels like a brutal, heavy weapon that you're swinging at your opponents. I've come to terms with and tried to enhance my skills with that specific character, and it is a lot of fun. However, on the other side, the rapier is less my thing. It's much lower damage dealing, which means you have to get way more hits in order to take your enemy out of action, using more stabs and slices rather than big swings. However, I think it is a nice addition since it is the most different out of all the characters that we've seen so far. We can see that 2 more characters will be coming in later on. However, they do look to be another rapier type character and another saber type character, so I'm not sure how much variation that's really gonna give. So 1 month on after the release of Hellish Quart, would I recommend buying it now? Well, if you're just the average game, if you just enjoy playing games for a few minutes and that's sort of your thing, I would say this game probably doesn't offer that much for you. It's very tailored towards a specific audience, the history fan, the person that studies duels or HEMA, or even someone like me who doesn't do any of that stuff but just enjoys historical based games, someone that can appreciate sword based combat, and this is done to perfection. If you're one of those people, I would say that Hellish Quart for $15-ish is probably worth it, especially since we can already see the new content that's been coming in. It's not like we have no idea what's coming next. They've hinted and shown us teasers for all the content that we can expect in the future. However, as I mentioned, if you're just the average casual gamer that isn't really into this sort of thing normally but thinks they might like it, I would say it's hit and miss. It's probably worth getting since it's pretty cheap. However, don't go into it expecting a full game at this point in time. Remember, always be wary with early access content. Let's see what you've got, sir. Keep him at long range. Slice to the chest. Oh, yes. Doesn't do too much damage, but it does enough. Keep him coming back. And quick in. Yes, taken down. Victory to me. I feel like I've seen this before. It's like looking in a mirror. Come on, then. Come on, you can slice at me all you want. Quick dodge, yep. Quick dodge the other way, and in her face. Oh, you don't need your arms. You basically win in this game when you incapacitate the other person. You don't kill them. That's not how duels work. You don't want to kill them, but sometimes you'll get a moment where you accidentally do kill them. I'll try and do that now. See if I can get a proper kill shot on this person. Yeah, that would probably leave a mark. Maybe not fully kill, but probably blind, and he's probably a vegetable. See, you brought a little sword to a long sword fight. You see the issue here, mate? I'm just gonna keep you at range. Are you trying to stab me chest? Oh, see, you ain't walking away from that one. See, look, I'm not an expert on sword fighting, but surely we just pick up one of those pistols off the wall. Easy victory. There's muskets there. Let's just pick up a musket and let's deal with it that way. Let's do it the proper way. Now, this is probably my least experienced class. Slicing isn't really the way to do it. Just little pokes and stabs, you know. That's sort of the thing that you want to be going at. But she ain't that great, what I've discovered. It might just be because I'm not as experienced with this class, but all the other classes I seem to be doing very decently with, and I seem to know how to use them properly. But this one, nah, she different. She be different. I do like doing the side steps and stabs though. It feels pretty badass. Like, oh yeah, I sliced your nipples. Oh, and again, yes, and again. Okay, watch our stamina, watch our stamina. There aren't really any visual indicators on your stamina, but I believe it is in the game, which is why sometimes you'll find yourself wondering why you didn't block that attack. Well, that's because you've used up all your stamina, mate. You need to be careful with that one. Now we're back in the gun room. Oh, I grabbed his sword, but that really hurt. I'm bleeding from my nipples. Oh, it's the final boss. Myself. Right then, let's see how we fare here. Oh, careful. I know how you move. I know your tactics. I know what you do. Stay back. Stay back, foul beast. Oh, well, isn't that ironic? I killed myself in both ways. I knew you'd be the final boss, you. I knew it. I knew it. I saw it coming. Why did I just tried to hit her sword? Now that, I may not be an experienced sword fighter, but trying to hit someone's sword ain't the cleverest thing to do. Aha, yeah, but stabbing them in the chest, that's a good one. And that is a victory to me. Hell yeah. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on Hellish Quart so far. It's been out for just over a month and it's had 1,500 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. It seems to be incredibly well received by the vast amount of people, yet for me, at least from what I can see, this seems to be from people that are either deeply into history or enjoyed games like Bushido Blade in the past. So if anyone's just the average gamer that doesn't normally play this sort of thing, please leave a comment. I'd love to know what your opinion on this game seems to be, because I think it's a very unique take. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a dislike if you didn't, and of course I'll be following Hellish Quart into the future with all its updates and new releases. But until then, I will see you in the next one.